Thank you for tuning into TTV. I'm your host, Toya, and today is Thursday. Terrific Thursday, or Magnificent Thursday, Marvelous Thursday, whatever you want to call it, Throwback Thursday, whatever. But today is Thursday. It's a beautiful day, and I am here to introduce you to a topic that I'm sure you have heard about because it's growing in attention as far as publicly. I think I even saw it in a TV show or a movie recently. And what we're talking about is grounding. So I really wanted to give some information on it and give you kind of like a starting guide so you can do your own due diligence and your own research and figuring out what is grounding and whether it's something that you want to participate in or something you want to do. So, but before we get started, please like, subscribe, and share, because if you get anything out of this content, chances are someone else will as well. So share with those you know, love, and care about. Also, I am a distributor for Young Living, which is an essential oil company, the best in the business. They do not sponsor me, but I am a distributor for them as well as a customer because I use their products as well. So check out the link below for the Young Living as well as my book, Tease Collection. All of that is down below, and let's get into it. So the first thing I wanted to explain when we're talking about grounding is, what is it? So in electricity, like when you're talking about electrical work, you have that grounding wire, or they tell you, you know, to attach this for grounding when it comes to electrical, or like if your car was to get hit by lightning, the tires will act as a grounding mechanism to prevent you from getting, you know, really hurt. Things like that. You hear about it in the electrical world, but we don't really understand how it relates to the body. So in the electrical world, what the grounding wire does is, like say for your refrigerator, you have your refrigerator plugged in, but there's a surge of power that comes through that's too much for your refrigerator. So what happens is that grounding wire will pull that electricity back down and into the ground so it doesn't, you know, fry your refrigerator. Okay, that's just an example of what it is when you talk about the electrical world. When it comes down into the physical, it's similar as far as how we take the energy into the earth and we absorb the energy from the earth. So it's similar in that aspect. However, it is a little different. And I like the way Healthline defined it. So I'm going to read that off of healthline.com, which I have the link down below. But I really like the way they put it. And let me see who wrote this article. Medically reviewed by Deborah Rose Wilson, PhD. She's the one that wrote this back on August 30th, 2019. Like I said, the link will be down below. But she said, grounding, also called earthing, is a therapeutic technique that involves doing activities that ground or electrically reconnect you to earth. And I love how she put that, because that's basically what you're doing when you do grounding, is that you are reconnecting to the earth. Now, how do you do this? You know, like, how does this really work? Well, if you see those people, or me, because I'm one of these that do this, if you see people walking around barefoot on the grass, on the ground, I will do this around my house. I don't do this in public because you don't know glass and stuff like that, but I know it's around my house because I keep it clean. So I do this around my house, and not even in the area that the dog goes to the bathroom. I don't even do it on the area she goes, but in the rest of around my house, I walk around barefoot on the grass, and I do that on purpose because you really, once you start doing this, you'll feel it. It's like a physical need to touch the earth. Whether you sit down on it, whether you put your feet and just wiggle your toes in the grass, you have this desire and this you just can't this compulsion to get your feet on the ground. And the fact that now that I spend so much time at home and I'm not away from the house as often, that feeling, that need, that compulsion to put my feet on the ground is so much stronger now. Depending on where I'm going, I'll wear moccasins now just so I have that closeness to the earth and it's not so much artificial material between me and the ground. Because, like, again, it's a compulsion to like get these shoes off and touch the ground, you know. So once you start doing it, you feel different. They're starting to do more research in it. There hasn't been much research over the years in it, but they're starting to do more research with it because they're finding that people who ground themselves, they're less anxious, they have less, you know, depression, they have a more positive outlook on life. That even some of the things like their blood pressure has been lowered. Like, it's all these physical things that happen just from putting your feet on the ground. And when I say on the ground, I mean on the actual soil, on your dirt, on the grass. We're not talking about the concrete. We're not talking about, you know, your stone walkway. We're talking about the grass. Even when it comes down to hugging a tree can ground you because you have that physical contact, that physical connection to that tree. And then taking your shoes off and putting your actual bare feet on the ground. You guys have heard me mention it before, but in, I believe it was Switzerland or the Netherlands. I think it was the Netherlands, where they were encouraging people to come out during the time of COVID, to come out and hug the trees, because they said just spending like 5 minutes hugging a tree will help alleviate some of the issues and some of the illness, the toxins and the symptoms of COVID from the people just by hugging a tree. And part of that has to do with the fact that it grounds you, because we are walking electrical beings, okay? And we are on an earth that is electrical being, okay? They've done pictures of it to where there's a pulse that goes through the earth that looks like a heartbeat, like almost like a breath or a heartbeat. Like, it's this pulse that they've noticed that they'll see that ripples through around the world through the earth. And that ripple, that impulse, that pulse is energy, just like we are energy, just like our heart pumps because of the energy that's in our body. And so when you take your shoes off and you connect to the bare ground, to the grass, or to the bark of the tree, the roots, when you start connecting to that, you get those pulses, and you guys are basically, you know, when I say you guys, I mean you and that tree, or you in the ground, are exchanging energy, going back and forth. Its energy is coming up to you, your energy is going down to it. I've also used it as far as healing, like issues that I've had. There's been some spiritual work that I've done, and I've been in situations to where the earth itself was like, give me that. Whatever you just took from this person, or whatever you took out of this spiritual connection, I need you to give it to me. And so I'll take my shoes and socks off and put my feet on the ground, and I can feel, you know, the cleansing that I did from whatever it was I was working with. I can feel it leave my body and go into the earth. And I can also feel the warmth of the earth, you know, the energy of the earth coming back up through me. So it's a beautiful thing. And when you really get into practice and the habit of doing it, you really feel how different it is. Like I said, it's to the point now I crave it. It's like this compulsion where I really need to take my shoes off, my shoes and socks off. Like, it's so bad now. Like, I was at my dad's house, and we were gone like all day. I think this was the day of my aunt's funeral. So we were gone like all day. And it's so much of these emotions and things that were just pent up in me, and the grief and just everything I was going through is like, I need to get these shoes off my feet so I can touch the earth. And that's what I did. I got to my father's house. I took my because I had on boots. I took my boots off, took my socks off, and I went outside and just stood in the dirt with my toes wiggling in the grass. And I just stood there for a minute and just did some deep breaths, just because I just needed to let it go. And it's a connection that we have because of who we are, because we are energy beings, and because the earth itself is an energy being, because everything that we do is just energy processing. And if you don't believe it, really look at biology. You have synapses that go on through your body. You have like I said the other day with the food, I think that was last Tuesday, you have food that you can consume that will actually help with the cellular structure and the communication and help carry stuff. Like, this is energy, honey. This is energy. That's why you can walk past a TV and see, you know, you can feel without even turning that TV on. You can feel if it's broken or if it still works. Why? Because you can feel the energy pulsing through it by it being plugged in. You know, whether you turn it on or not, you can feel if that TV work or it doesn't before you even try it. You know, and that's because we are energy beings, and because we are energy beings, and we have all this electricity and stuff around us, and the EMFs and the RFS and all these acronyms. for all these different waves and things that are going on around us, that's always penetrating and just pulsating around us, we have to let it go. We have to get rid of it. And the way you do it is by grounding yourself. So take some time to really start to go outside. And I know it's cold here in Michigan right now, but I'm telling you, it's still good for you. Go outside, put your feet in the grass. Okay. I have even been known to go outside barefoot, even in the winter. Okay, I might not spend as much time out there in the winter with the, the snow on the grass, or the ice out there, but I have done that before even in the winter time. Go out there with no shoes on and really connect to the earth, because it's not just a summertime thing that we need. It's something you need all year long. My best friend got me a grounding mat, and what it is it's a mat that connects to the grounding part of the plug. So the little circle part where you put that in there, and it sends like this electrical pulses through to try to mimic what you get when you go outside and put your feet on the ground. I've used it a couple of times. I have noticed it, like especially the last time I used it, I could feel the energy pulsing through my legs. Because it was one, she bought it for me to sleep, and I'm trying to use it with sleep, but I don't know how that's gonna work, because the mat is really not conducive to being on the bed, because they said it works best if your skin is actually in contact with it, and the way the mat moves and stuff, it's not working. But you can meditate on it. You can put it on the floor while you're sitting at the desk, and have your feet on it. I think it even says something about putting it like on top with your, while you're working on your computer and things like that. So they're coming up with things for it. So it is something that people are starting to understand that is very important. But I wanted to give you some information and kind of get you started with the process of thinking about it and doing your own due diligence and researching it yourself to see the benefits of it and how you can incorporate that in your life. But it's one of the things why gardening is so therapeutic, because again, it's that grounding. It grounds you so that, you can connect to the earth and the earth can connect to you, because we need that. We are energy beings. We are from the earth, of the earth, all of that. So it only makes sense that, to keep ourselves maintained as far as our electrical impulses and stuff through our body, we need the earth to do that as well. So this is our planet, and I know people talk about it all the time. You hear about environmentalists talking about it, how we have to save the planet and do all of this. This is part of it. This is our world. This is our environment. We need the earth as much as the earth needs us. So could we survive in outer space? I'm sure we could, but we would be missing some stuff. There's some stuff we would be missing just because we don't have that earth. So unless we take some of the dirt off of the earth with us, I think if we were to live in the earth live out in space, we would have some issues. We will have some issues, because physically we need to be connected to the earth. So anyway, do your own due diligence. Like I said, it's a link down below for an article that was written by the lady on Healthline. So check that out. Let that be your start, or look it up yourself. Really do your own due diligence in your research in it. I can't stress that enough. Don't just take somebody else's word for things. You have to do it yourself. Do the legwork yourself. But I love you, and I will talk to you tomorrow.